Well, hello, everyone out there in Facebook land. Come on in. It's Dr. Brandy B. And I am tardy for the party, guys, but it's just been one of those days. It's been one of those weeks. So come on in, let's talk about it. Of course, everyone has seen what has been going on in the news. So much tragedy that I thought, my fans, my followers rely on me to give them accurate information about what's going on in the world. And so we want to talk about what it is that has been going on. Of course, I am in the car today. You can see that. But that doesn't stop Focus on It Friday. We are right here to give you all what it is that you need. I am so happy to be here, guys. I'm so happy to be here. And hopefully we can talk about a pretty heavy topic, but talk about it in a way that is meaningful for a lot of you. We've got Miss Dottie Tisdale watching. Christy Hodges Wilcox is watching. We've got Amber Graham. Thank you so much for watching. We've got Miss Belinda Jones watching. She says, hello, Dr. Brandy. Trisha King is watching. Good afternoon, Dr. B. My sister-in-law, belated happy birthday wishes to you, my love. Erica Harris is watching. Ryan Hinton Smith is watching. She says, hello, beautiful, my sister Erica, and hello right back to you. Amber says, hello, Dr. Brandy, and hello to you all. I am late here this afternoon, but nevertheless, we are going to get things started like we always do. We've got Miss Harriet Kemp Shaw over from the Fayette County area. Thank you to you all for watching today. There are 9 of you all watching. If you come in, I can't really see who you are. I'm going to be trying to keep up with the comments and also keep up with, obviously, the talk. Before I go any further, does everyone hear me okay? Can you all hear me? Just let me know if you can hear me. We've got Miss Betty Jeffers is here. She says, good afternoon. I say the same to you. Thank you so much for joining. Can you all hear me this afternoon before I keep talking and no one can hear? Just let me know. We've got Stashi, your bigger Glover. Hello, beautiful Miss Shaw says from Fayette, Alabama. She is here. Yes, you can hear me. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. We've got Kimberly Parks watching. Thank you for joining us today on Focus on It Friday. So I am Dr. Brandy B, triple board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist, pediatrician, as well as adult psychiatrist. And here at Focus on It Friday, and through my books, my live streams, my speaking engagements, and any other way that I can bring education to parents, to teachers, or to anyone who is interested in listening, I help those folks get what they need so that they can help the students, the children, and the adults in their lives be successful in the classroom and in life. I am so glad that you all are here. Miss Trisha King says that I'm crystal clear. Thank you all so very much. So we're going to go ahead and get into something that's a little bit heavy, but for the people, who may be like me, obviously there was a shooting, a mass murdering of young children, of adults, and then we've had subsequent death of family members, a family member that we know of one of the teachers in Uvalde, Texas. Just an awful event. But, like you all, I was living life. I'd been on a surprise trip to New York, and as we were landing in Birmingham on Tuesday, as soon as the signal came back on the phones, I could see that there had been a shooting in a schoolhouse. And I thought, oh my God, this is just downright awful. And so you get all these range of emotions, right? But it's May, we're nearing June. And so, graduations are going on. Birthdays are going on. Yesterday, I had a 10-year anniversary. My sister-in-law, Erica, who's on this call, had a birthday on yesterday. Things are still happening. And so I saw all these posts that said, I feel so bad because I'm just not tuning in. Even I had thoughts of, oh my God, I'm celebrating and I have all my babies with me and I'm here celebrating 10 years of marriage, and I'm super ecstatic because marriage is, 10 years. That's a long time. That's like, in regular years and dog years, as they say, that's like forever. And so a lot of people, hey, Destiny, have said, oh my God, I feel so bad that I'm celebrating. I feel so bad that I'm not watching the news. I feel so bad. And so I just want to talk with you all just for a few moments today about celebrating your triumph, celebrating your good things in the middle of tragedy, right? And how do we process, how do we manage all of this and knowing that it's okay? Y'all know over here at Dr. Brandy B, it's okay. Whatever it is that you're feeling, it's okay. If you're sad, it's okay. If you're anxious, it's okay. But we just need to make sure that we're processing things so that we don't find ourselves being overwhelmed about not being overwhelmed. Right? And so we want to use for an acronym today, TRIUMPH. And I know it's a little bit weird. You like Dr. Brandy B? We talk about tragedy. But I want you all to understand. Hey, Auntie Julia, welcome. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Melissa Ann, welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. I want you all to know that it is okay to celebrate and be able to manage your emotions while we're still in the middle of tragedy. Tragedy is always going to happen, unfortunately. And what we do to manage our dealings with that tragedy can really make a big difference for us. So the first thing in triumph is that I want you to talk about your feelings. So of course, like I said, my husband and I were landing. We'd been in New York. We'd had a fabulous time. It was a fabulous time. And immediately when the plane landed, cell phones came on, we got this news. It was earth-shattering. It was absolutely, it was sickening. It was sad. It was all that thing. So I think that it's very important that we place labels on what it is that we are feeling. That way, we do not become bogged down with it. And if your feeling is, I just can't think about it right now, guess what? That is okay. That's okay. Melanie McNair says this is a great topic. Thank you so much. Yes, because somebody's out there struggling with the fact that they're going to their child's graduation tonight. They went to their child's graduation last night. And, you know, even if it's kindergarten, first grade promotion, whatever, honors awards today, they are really torn up about thinking about how to celebrate their child when so many people have lost theirs. And I want you to just know that it is absolutely not inconsiderate. It is absolutely not selfish. This is what you need to do to move on. We can most certainly be respectful of the families that have been impacted, but still managing our own emotions and managing the things that we're having, that the good things that are happening in our lives. And so we need to be able to talk about, that's your T, talk about what it is that you're feeling. Even if that feeling was, I don't want to think about that. It's okay, right? It doesn't mean that you don't respect those people. It doesn't mean that you are not acknowledging the tragedy that has happened. It just means that at this moment, something is going on with me that is worth celebrating, or I just am not even in a good mental space where I can talk about what has happened. And guess what? That is okay. So talk about whatever your emotions are and know that it is okay to feel that way. The R is to respect the way that others are grieving or celebrating. So if you're the type of person who completely shuts down when tragedy is going on around you and you don't go anywhere, you can't celebrate those things that are happening in your life, I want you to be able to respect the way that other people do celebrate, because good things are still happening with them. You say, I'm going in. Hopefully this is going to make it better. Let me know if I'm still going in and out. But what we're talking about today is celebrating your triumph while we're in the middle of tragedy. And so the T for triumph is to talk about your feelings, whatever they are. Even if they may be, I don't want to talk about the tragedy. I can't manage the tragedy. You know, that is sad, but I've got to focus beyond that. It's okay. Just talk about it. Be open about it. The R is to respect the way that other people are managing their emotions during this time. Let me know, Miss Nia Nicole, if you hear me any better now. Because we definitely must be able to say, I can't engage right now, but I'm so happy that you are able to, you know. And we've got to be respectful of those other people while we say, hey, can you just be respectful of the way that I am managing as well, okay? And that's okay. right? That's your R. Be respectful of other people. The next thing, the I in triumph. Triumph. We're talking about triumph. And again, this kind of came out of the fact that yesterday was a great day for me. Hello, I'm Michelle Scott Shores, and I hear you much better, says Nia Nicole. Perfect. That's what we wanted. Kawanda, welcome back. Thank you for tagging Aubrey Moss. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So this kind of came out of, yesterday was my husband's and my 10th anniversary. I told you all that last week that we would be celebrating, and I said, I don't know if I'll be there Friday. But here I am, because I have to be here for you all, to help you all navigate some of these things that I feel you probably have questions about. And I feel that you have questions because I'm a human being and I have these questions too. And so yesterday, on what was a really big day for us, right? We'd already had to change and cancel plans. My husband had been talking for at least the last 5 years of what he wanted to do for a 10th anniversary. And of course, COVID changed that for us. We are probably out and about more than we've been in a long time, but we still aren't just freely out and about. And so we had already had to change it, but I still wanted to celebrate the fact that we made it in a happy, healthy marriage. Not a perfect marriage, because none are, but a happy, healthy marriage for 10 years. And in some ways, I found myself saying, is it insensitive for me as a psychiatrist to post that I'm excited about this? And so then I had to say, but you know what? It's not insensitive, because as awful as it sounds, life is still going. Babies are still being born. People are still dying. Good things are still happening. Graduations are happening. School is happening. I left my kids at school today after attending field day. So all the things that were happening at that school in Uvalde are still happening around the country. And so we have to make sure that we're managing those emotions. So we're using triumph in the middle of, celebrating triumph in the middle of tragedy, okay? So your T in triumph is to talk about your feelings. Your R is to be respectful of other people and how it is that they manage, right? And how they celebrate or how they grieve. And then your I is to be introspective. So to be introspective, it means to look within, look inside and try to see what it is that this thing means to you one way or another, right? And so why was it so important for me, would be an example, to celebrate my anniversary, okay? Because people don't make it 10 years, because we've had a great life together. Why is that so important for me? And for you, it may be looking inside of you and figuring, why do I not want to celebrate my child's graduation? What is it that the things that are going on, and this could be any tragedy, what are they doing to impact me such that I'm willing to change my behavior about them? And that may be something, worth looking at, taking a deeper look into yourself and not so much looking at other people and what it is as to explain why they're doing the things that they're doing. So looking deeply within and saying, why this? Tuesday when I got home, I'd been on a trip. This awful thing had happened. I came home, I gathered up my babies, I hugged them, and I didn't mention it to my babies. Some people say they woke their babies up and they explained this, that, and the other. Why do you feel that that's a need? Now, a lot of those people were in Texas, and given that some of the greatest and largest massacres in schools have occurred in Texas, that may be something. But in Alabama, there's nothing to say that it can't happen here as well. But why is it that we're doing? Why is it that we're feeling the way that we're doing? That is the kind of thing that we can find out when we look deeply into ourselves, take an introspective look. Miss Michelle Scott Short says, happy anniversary. May God continue to bless your union with good health, happiness, prosperity, longevity, inner joy, and peace. I'm glad you enjoyed your day and each other. And we absolutely did. And that was what I thought was important, right? That was important to us, that we still celebrate this moment, because here's the deal. None of us knows when we will get the next moment to celebrate, right? And so we have to make sure that we are celebrating each moment as they come, and that we're also being appropriate when we mourn a moment. When we mourn a moment and making sure that that balance is there, that is what is really the key. So we want to talk about our feelings. We want to be respectful of others. We want to look introspectively to try to figure out why it is that we're feeling the way that we're feeling. Why is it that we're behaving the way that we're behaving? And then move forward. Why does this mass murder, why does it bring up the feelings that it does? You know, is it because it's just a reminder that life is short? And then if that is the case, what do we do with that? Do we make sure that our children know we love them? Do we make sure that our loved ones know we love them? Or do we just hold on to that information and do nothing with it? So when you take that introspective look, the next step is then to decide, what do you need to do about it? The U is to make sure that you unwind. Unwind by doing something that you know you love to do, something that brings you pleasure. So when we're talking about unwinding, this is where your trash TV comes in. This is where you're riding around the neighborhood comes in. This is where you're calling a girlfriend, a guy friend comes in. This is where you getting your favorite dish comes in. You know, really at this point in my life, because I realize that, as my mom always says, life comes at you fast. We don't know when the last moment will be for any of us, right? And we always want to blame somebody, but sometimes it's just your time, right? So what we have to do is that make sure we're being intentional. Make sure that the things that we're doing are things that we want to do, and make sure that the things that we're doing are things that we enjoy doing. Now, some stuff you got to do, like go to work. You may not enjoy that, or you may not want to do it, but by golly, you've got to do it so that you can afford to pay for some of the things that you want to do. So make sure that you're unwinding. Make sure that you're turning off that TV. If that TV is bringing you stress, turn it off. If CNN, if Fox, if TBS, if whoever you're watching your news from, if they are stressing you out, turn it off. Unwind and rewind. Go back to Monday. Now, of course, we can't go back to Monday because Tuesday happened. And we know that Tuesday happened. But what were you doing in your Monday life? What were you doing in your morning Tuesday life that really brought you joy? Even in the midst of tragedy, we have to make sure that we stop and rewind and go back to those things. Otherwise, we will find ourselves fixated on the tragedy and not able to look for the good things that can come out of it for us. Because here's the deal. Just because a situation is tragic for someone else does not mean that it's tragic for us, right? So we have to make sure that we, even in the middle of tragedy, are still finding those ways to celebrate our triumph. So we got to rewind. If you like the movie, go to the movies, right? People still send their kids to school the next day around the country. So we do have to keep going. And that is the one way that we know that we can still keep going. All right, so that's your U, to unwind and find those things that bring you pleasure. Your M is to minimize new stressors or minimize stressors when you're feeling overwhelmed. And so, like I said, if you're at a place where you're like, not today, I'm celebrating, not today, my kid is graduating, not today, honors awards is here, our school has told us that all the things that they have in place to keep our kids safe, not today. All right, we've got to be in control of minimizing that stress, because so often people will come with good intentions, mostly, and because they're down and out, I can be respectful of the way that you're mourning or grieving or celebrating, but I also have to be respectful of myself and in control of my feelings. So make sure that you're minimizing your ongoing stressors, because to be honest, and I can remember with the 9/11 plane crashes, I remember sitting there in front of that TV until literally I was depressed. And finally I said to myself, Brandy, you got to get up now. Turn the TV off. I can remember after a bad breakup thinking to myself, Brandy, you have 2 weeks to get it together. And I looked at the calendar and gave myself a date. So really, we do have to find ways to minimize the things that are really troublesome to us. Now, again, if you're in the middle of the tragedy, there may not be, Like, we can't put a date on grief, and we've talked about grief before. So to those parents, this rule may not apply. And I hope that it doesn't seem as insensitive. But we must make sure that we are being appropriately concerned, appropriately sad, appropriately grief-stricken, but then that we also make sure that we balance that with being there and in the moment with what's happening with us. I hope that makes sense to everyone. The P is to protect your health, right? So again, when you're in the middle of tragedy, make sure that you're still exercising, eating, and at the end of the day, sleeping. Exercise, eat, and at the end of the day, sleep. That is what is going to make it possible for you to wake up and do the thing the next day again. If you wear yourself out, then there is a high possibility that you won't have what is needed to get through the next day. So pace yourself, take care of yourself, eat nutritiously, sleep, take a shower or a bath every single day to make sure that you're still pushing through. And like I said, turn that TV off. Turn that TV off. Turn that radio off. Turn that news station off. It will help. It will really help you to move forward, okay? And then the last thing you want to do when you're trying to figure out a way to celebrate your own triumphs in the middle of tragedy is to figure out what you can do to help. Figure out what you can do to help. Now, when it comes to the case of this 18-year-old in Texas who killed 21 people, I can't say what was going on with him mentally, but I can say this. I can say, and this is not necessarily for the people that come and listen to Focus on It Friday. You all are the people who are already in tune. You are already in touch. But I can say this, and again, the disclaimer here is that I do not know anything about the young 18-year-old man or his family who has been accused of killing those young children and those two adults. But I will say this. The one way that we can help is to, when you see something, say something. And I'm not talking about even when a person buys a gun. I'm talking about if you see that your child is struggling, if you see that your loved one is struggling, help them. And you're probably thinking, Dr. Brandy B, what you talking about? A lot of times, people who do things like what this young man did, they may have felt like outcasts. They may have felt like they didn't fit anywhere or belong anywhere. And so what ends up happening sometimes is that people who find themselves in that situation will go back and in an attempt to get someone to notice them do things of this nature. Y'all know I'm always tied into ADHD. Again, I don't know anything about that young man. But I do know that oftentimes when children have trouble learning, school then becomes difficult. When school becomes difficult, they aren't getting any awards. Notice the kids at awards day who don't get awards, okay? Notice those kids. Those kids grow up, they continue to be outcast. Notice the kids who get behavior problems. They're not getting awards. Notice the kids who have ADHD and are labeled bad. And maybe even have learning problems too, either because of their ADHD or associated with it. These are the kids that grow up. They don't fit in anywhere. They're not jocks. They're not nerds. They're just alone. These are the kids that you want to help early, elementary school. You want to help these kids, mom and dad. And if you're here, you're already in the right place, on the right track. Give these kids the help that they need. Give them the special education that they need. Give them whatever it is that they need so they can be comfortable in the skin that they're in. Nobody out there is a Dr. Brandy B, and Dr. Brandy B is not any of you. But we're all individuals. We're all unique. We have our own goals, our own aspirations, and our own things that we're super good at doing. But those things need to be brought out, and they need to be brought out at a very early age so that we can get kids the help that they need. If we recognize a kid is sad, we need to get them the help that they need. If we recognize that a mom is sad, a dad is sad, we need to get them the help that they need. We need to make sure that we're validating our young boys. When they cry for a reason that deserves to be cried for, we need to make sure that we tell them, son, I hear you. I feel you. I see you. That's a really good reason to cry, and I'm glad that you're feeling that way and able to express it to me. So we've got to make sure that we are doing what we can to help the kids that need the help, to help the kids and adults that need the help. And it starts very young. Y'all know I'm very teacher friendly over here at Dr. Brandy B. When your child's teacher says to you, I think that this child needs some help, just get them tested. Nothing wrong with that. Get them tested. If you don't believe anything's wrong, the testing will, come back and it will say that. But to continue to not give our kids what they need is a setup to fail them in life. It is a setup to not get them to the place that ultimately we want them to be. Again, very sad topic. Very sad topic. I am so sad that so many people had to lose their lives, and now their spouses are losing theirs as well. But I want you to know, I want you to hear it from me to you, that whatever you're feeling, it is okay. It is okay for you to talk about the way that you're feeling and to say, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to watch the news about it. I just want to hold my babies and think about how fortunate I am to have them. That's okay. Our little brains are only equipped to handle so much emotion at a time. And if right now yours is not able to handle that tragedy, that trauma, knowing that is the best thing you can do for yourself. I want you to, during this time, to be respectful of the way that other people are managing. Some people are managing right now by blaming. Some people right now are managing by name calling. Some people right now are just being hateful. Some people right now are probably threatening the young man's parents. Guess what? Don't get wrapped up in that. Stay in your lane and drink your water. Y'all know we did a whole talk about that. I think it was last summer. About staying in your lane and drinking your water. Because that has nothing to do with you. Fight the battle that you were given. And if you don't feel like that was the battle you were given, stay out of it. Stay out of it. If you pray, pray and move on. But if, by all means, if you're celebrating something, somebody out there may be just celebrating, my God, I'm so glad my kids passed to the next grade. And you know what? Y'all ought to celebrate that. You ought to go get yourself some ice cream and celebrate. Because that is absolutely what needed to happen. Amelia, she says, oh my God, I almost missed it. Girl, come on in. We're just wrapping up. Miss Matha says amen and thank you. Absolutely. Whatever it is that you're feeling right now, y'all know I'm going to tell you it's okay. Talk about your feelings. That's your tea and triumph. Respect other people and the way that they're doing it. We're going to let them handle that. We're going to drink our water and we're going to mind our business. I introspect. Take an introspective look at why it is the way that you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Why do you feel that you can't celebrate what's going on good in your life? Your anniversary, your birthday, your kid's promotion, your kid's graduation, your kids getting honor roll, your kids having awards day, whatever it is that your kids are doing. Celebrate it. Look introspectively about what it is that bothers you about not celebrating it or about celebrating it, and then figure out what you need to do to make that better. Your you is to unwind. Make sure that in the middle of tragedy, you are able to unwind. If it's the movies, if it's a good, nice restaurant, if it's soaking in a tub, if it's talking it over with a friend, whatever it is that you can do, turning off the TV altogether, definitely off the things that are reminding you of the news, turn it off, right? If it's, and then your M, minimize extra stressors. Minimize extra stressors, okay? Ms. Belinda says, everyone I wish could listen to Dr. Brady today. Make sure you share it. Make sure you share it, Miss Belinda. We thank you for doing that. Just hit that share button, and then the people that you know can hear it, and maybe other people can hear it. Amelia says, honor their accomplishments. They need your approval. Absolutely. Because here's the deal, guys. My kids have no idea at 3, 5, and 7 that 19 other kids lost their lives. I just didn't feel the need to tell them. Now, maybe my way is the wrong way, but I know several parents, you know, and that's where, and I always say parenting is hard. I didn't feel the need to tell my kids that. Some people sat their kids down and told them. Maybe their kids are older. Maybe they, you know, live in Texas, and so it's going to be all over the news. But here in Alabama, I didn't feel the need to tell my kids that. So we are going on about life, because I know what that trauma does to little kids. And I know that my oldest guy is a little bit anxious. If either of his parents were anxious, he would be a nail-biting little child. So there's no reason for me, in my mommy sense and mommy gut, to tell him anything about a kid getting shot at school if I want him to continue to go to school and be a little kid. So make that call for yourself. And again, that has to do with drinking your water and minding your business. If everybody else, if your neighbor and telling their kid, that's their business. Let those people, as I said, grieve and celebrate the way that they wish to, okay? So you're going to minimize your stress when being overwhelmed. Turn off the TV. Tell the friend, I can't do it. Just go on about life. And no, you're not saying, well, it didn't happen. It absolutely happened, and you know it did. But what you also know is that you have but so much you can deal with in a day, and you just cannot deal with that. You're not in denial. You're just being honest with yourself. And remember, self-care is not selfish. It's actually being respectful to yourself and your family and friends who really need you. All right? And the P is protect your health. Sleep, eat, rest, do it again. Sleep, eat, rest, do it again. All right? And if that means you never turn on a news station, that's fine. What can we do anyway? And then your H is to help. And how can we help? You know, you can help in so many different ways. You can help yourself, again, by eating and sleeping. You can help your family by making sure that they know that you love them. If your family hasn't heard you say, I love you today or yesterday or this week, that's the first thing that you can do is tell them, I love you. And everybody else loves you too. You are wanted. You are needed. You have value. Again, I don't know anything about the young man that is said to be the one to have committed this massacre. I don't. But I want you to make sure that you're telling your children you love them. I want you to watch your children's friends. I want you to notice if your child is an outcast. I want you to notice and be honest with yourself about if your child is having challenges with learning, challenges with reading, challenges with math. I want you to be honest with yourself about that. I want you to be honest with yourself about, does your child have ADHD? Because there may be a time when your child is not able to keep up because of ADHD. And then your child won't fit in any group at school. And one is a lonely number. I've heard people who have done these types of killings in the past say, nobody would speak to me. Can you imagine growing up, having that, keeping that inside for many, many years, and then growing up only to think, I'm just gonna go back to 3rd grade because that's where it first started, and I'm gonna kill some people that, can you imagine that? So make sure, parents, that you're keeping up with your children, that you're watching them, that you're supporting them, and that you're being honest with yourself when it comes to helping them. Because that is what is going to be the first step in leading to us being well as a culture, as a country, as a people. We've got to be engaged with our kids, no matter how old we are or they are. Parenting is an active participation sport. You've got to get in there and get busy with them. So make sure you're doing that. I hope you all have a good weekend. Again, part of why I did this, I said, is for my own reasons, to make sure that I'm okay with the fact that I'm celebrating something good happening to me. Many of you have things going on that are good with you, and you should absolutely make sure that you are celebrating. We have a big problem in the country, right? And you not celebrating your events, your special accomplishments, the things that are going on in your family's life will not change the course overnight of what's going on. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. And taking care of yourself means that you celebrate. Even in the midst of tragedy, it means that you celebrate the triumphs that are going on with you. Reminding yourself that there's still more good people in the world. Many, 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 many more good people in the world than there are people who are not. And remember to pray for folks. It's a lot of people that we sit next to at work, that we stand next to in the OR, that we pass by on the street, we're at the red light next to them, and they are not well. They are not mentally well. They are not physically well. They are stressed out. And if you don't believe me, look at them and the light turns green. They take off like they're in a race with you. And you're like, we weren't racing. Okay? So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you celebrate. Make sure you look out for your neighbor. Make sure you're helping somebody. Mr. Donnell, hello. I am doing good. Thank you for asking. So good to see you here today. All right, and I am going to get out of here. Hopefully that was helpful for someone as you're struggling with, how can I celebrate my child when somebody else didn't have theirs? You celebrate them. You celebrate them. You pray for the people who do not have theirs, but you absolutely celebrate yours. And let's look to being more grateful, right? When we take those introspective looks that I talk about, make sure that you're grateful. I've here lately started off conversations with my patients and their parents about, before they even get a chance to start talking, because the natural response is to tell me all the negative things about their medicines or about whatever. It's always they want to tell me something negative. So here recently, I've been really messing people up by saying, tell me something good that's happened since we last saw each other. And then I'll remind them when we last saw each other. March, April, whatever. You would be amazed how many people cannot tell me any good thing that's happened to them from anywhere since January. Right? And I'm like, the obvious, if nothing else, is that you're breathing and talking to me. But people don't have anything to say. Make sure you have an attitude of gratitude. And that way, when tragedy comes a little bit closer to you, because it comes close, you will always still be able to say, but I have this going for me, right? And then you might need to turn on the superpowers of grief or of loss, okay? But in the middle of everything else, we want to make sure that we're able to celebrate the triumphs even in the middle of tragedy. Amelia says, I'm always helpful. Thank you so much, Amelia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all, Mimi did my decorations for my wedding 10 years ago. Absolutely amazing. 10 years was yesterday, Mimi. So we are over here celebrating, and that, as I said, is what prompted this video today, this topic. Michelle Scott Shorts says, love your hair and your makeup. Thank you so much, darling. I did my makeup myself, girl, and honey, sometimes it just be a struggle, but I get it on here the best way I can. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Belinda Jones says thank you, and you have a good weekend. Alethea Thurman and Wanda Harris are watching. Thank you all so much. Hope you all have a great weekend as well. Make sure, guys, that you're safe. I don't know that we do fireworks on this holiday, but make sure that you're watching your diet. Your A1C is gonna be sky high, and then you're gonna be trying to figure out why you got to take more medicine for your diabetes or taking insulin, and we don't want you to do that. So make sure that you take care of yourself. Mr. Donnell says, I love this, Dr. B. Always have an attitude of gratitude. Thankful for a hot shower, having a home, having a cup of coffee. Just grateful. And when you are, and even in the middle of tragedy that is hitting home, you can still be grateful. And I always encourage that. Always encourage that. I love you all. Miss Vicky Boland says, have a great weekend. You as well. It's a long one, so make sure y'all are safe. Make sure that you're being grateful. Make sure that you're praying for the people who are in the middle of their own tragedies, because there's so much going on, and we never know when tragedy might come and knock at our door. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm Dr. Brandy B, your triple board. Did you say you're celebrating something? Yes, Mr. Donnell, yesterday was my 10th wedding anniversary, and we definitely celebrated. We went out of town, we celebrated, and I don't post much. I'm not a big poster on Facebook about my personal life. Honestly, because I just don't have time, right? In real life, I'm helping people in real life. And in real life, my husband and I have a good time. And in real life, we try to make sure that we engage with our kids. And so sometimes that means that in Facebook life, we don't have a whole lot of time to share. But I made some time yesterday because I really thought that 10 years of marriage was an accomplishment. And we had 650 guests at our wedding. And so I figured my Facebook fans, who many made up most of that crowd, or a lot of that crowd, I felt like they needed to know we were still hanging in there, and we were all right. 10 years, 3 babies, and a whole lot of other changes since. But in the back of my mind, the thought was there, should I be doing this when people just lost their babies? Should I be doing this when people lost their lives? Should I be doing this when a town has been shaken up? Should I be doing this when they're trying to figure out if the police did what they were supposed to do and did it correctly? And it just came over me that absolutely I should. And you should be celebrating too. Tragedy will come to all of us in one way or another. Unfortunately, it's coming. Even if it just means that somebody dies that we love, it's coming. But if you can say, despite all, I still have this going for me. I still have that going for me. Thank God it wasn't at my... It's okay to say, thank God this was not at my child's school. I can't imagine. That's okay. That's okay. But we just have to make sure that we're respectful of other people and their feelings, and we accept them for whatever it is that their feelings. That we don't place blame, but we look for ways to help with the solution. And the way that you can help is to go on in there, and when you see something, say something. When you see something, if you know your child is having some mental health challenges, don't keep sweeping that under the rug. Deal with that. Again, I don't know anything about this young man. I don't even know his name. I certainly don't know his mental health state. But what I do know is that by 3rd grade, y'all, when these kids can't read and do math, and they start to get separated from their peers as far as grades, teachers' views, they start down a path that could lead to them just being lost, losing interest in school, losing friends, losing points on grades, and we don't want that. We really don't. We don't want that. All right, y'all, so I'm gonna get out of here. Have a safe Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Celebrate. Pray for, think about, memorialize those people that were lost to war. Memorialize the people in your family. Certainly think about the families in Texas that were impacted on Tuesday by the mass murdering. It is unfathomable. It really is. But we have so much to be grateful for. And if part of what we're being grateful for requires us to celebrate, make sure that you're doing that as a part of taking care of yourself. All right, I saw some comments. Dr. Terrell says, thank you, Dr. Terrell, welcome. Miss Wanda says, happy anniversary. Thank you. Kimberly Park says, congratulations, Dr. B. God bless y'all, and I hope y'all have many more. We so appreciate that. LaTroya Williamson Boyce says 10 years of marriage is a blessing, and it is. It really is a blessing. I thought it was a big deal. Y'all, I have friends who didn't make it to 10 years. And I wanted to celebrate that. I have friends that didn't make it to 5. I have friends that didn't make it to 3. And the fact that we did it despite COVID. We did it, you know, there's just so many reasons to be thankful. So many reasons to be thankful. Mr. Donnell says, happy anniversary, blessings. I love it. Enjoy each other and celebrate. Absolutely. Miss LaTroya says, thank you for taking time to discuss this needed topic. Absolutely. The other way, Mr. Donnell says, yes, it is okay to be thankful that it didn't hit our home, but our thoughts and prayers go to the families affected. Absolutely. Miss Dr. Michelle Davis Dash, is here. Got your book coming today. Hubby said after I got off the live, what about going to New York tomorrow? I said tomorrow as in tomorrow. He said tomorrow as in tomorrow. And guess what I did? Packed and left. Amelia says we need to realize kids are cruel. Watch your kids' actions. Know your kids. Absolutely know your kids. Watch your kids. Be honest about your kids. And stop saying what your kids won't do. Because when they aren't around you, they might be somebody else. Lethea Cousin says stay safe. Absolutely. KG is coming on. Absolutely. LaTroya is raising her hands. To the roof giving praise. Amelia says my husband said y'all worked him on the wedding. Tell him we appreciate him. It was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Y'all, I ain't never been to no wedding like my own wedding. And I can say that. They did that on them decorations, golly. KG says, happy anniversary. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to get out of here. Until next week, hopefully we won't have a topic in the news that, you know, breaks us from our normal discussion. But like I said, y'all go back and watch any of the videos. I'm talking about ADHD all the time. But what I'm talking about now is real life stuff, trying to get y'all through what you might need. And again, it was something that I thought about. Do I celebrate? Do I post? And then the answer is emphatically yes. As Mr. Donnell says, we can absolutely go on with our lives and remember what's going on over there. Unfortunately, the world does not stop. It just, it keeps going. And we can certainly be respectful of other people. We can pray for them and have well wishes for them. But the biggest part that we can do is what steps do we take? And those steps involve watching our own kids. I'm not saying they're going to grow up to be mass murderers, but I'm saying that they could grow up to have low self-esteem. They can grow up to feel like they are not a part. They can feel like they are not loved. And when people start feeling that way, we never know what they may do. We don't, and that's adults and kids. So take care of yourselves, take care of your spouses, take care of your family, take care of your community. And it all starts by protecting our mental health. Again, I'm not saying that this guy had mental health, because there's definitely a difference between mental illness and hatred, mental illness and racism, mental illness and all kinds of things. And we have to make sure that we're not confusing the two. So I don't know anything about that young man that killed those kids and adults in Texas. But what I do know is that what we can do when we first spot signs that something is going on in our children is make sure that we are working on building happy, healthy adults. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm Dr. Brandy B, triple board certified child and adolescent psychiatrist. But you know, sometimes the only thing that really matters is that I'm a mom. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I'm out here trying to figure it out just like everybody else. And sometimes things get heavy for me too. Sometimes things get tricky for me. Sometimes I don't know the answers. But we are figuring it out as we go. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we are healthy mentally and physically for ourselves, and that we are the same way for our kids. Y'all know I love y'all tremendously. I want nothing but the best for you and for your families. And if there's anything I can do, just reach out and give me a hand. If you have reached out to me this week, I have been out of commission because I was celebrating, right? But I will be back at it next week. So this is your week. If I told you I'm gonna get you worked in, you better send me a text right now. And you know who you are. Now, it ain't for everybody. But if I told you I was gonna get you worked in, text me now, because this is the time. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I love y'all. Have a good weekend. Be safe, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.